Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for giving me the valuable feedbacks in the last video. The today's topic in this session, in this video, I will discuss about the term communication and concept, types and process or steps of communication. And what is communication? Communication is the transfer of information from one person to another person, and the information is being understood by the receiver. Receiver means another person, means it is the process of transferring of information from sender to receiver. Sender who starts or who initiates to send message to the receiver, receiver who receives the message. Okay, it means you can see the figure, sender is sending the message or information to the receiver. We can say that also communication is the process of exchanging of information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions through speech, signals, writing, behavior. It is not only transfer of information, it is the transfer of feelings as well as, it is the transfer of emotions as well as, right? You can see it is a process of exchanging views, opinions, thoughts, ideas with the help of speech, with the help of speaking. Means through speaking, through writings. You can write a letter, you can, if you want to make aware others about your feelings, you can write a letter in a writing form. With the help of sign language signals, you can communicate to others, communicate to the receiver, and if the receiver understands in the same way, then we can say communication took place. Okay. Now, moving ahead, communication involves three things, three aspects that is necessary for the communication process. Without these three things, we cannot say that communication took place. Number one is something transmitted or transferred. Something here, it means information, message, thoughts, feelings, ideas, opinions, views, number of whatever you want to convey. Means something that should be conveyed to the receiver. The number one thing. Number two is two parties are involved. For the communication, there is a requirement of two parties. There is involvement of two parties because the number one is sender, number two is a receiver. More than two parties is okay. Okay, next one is element of understanding. What the sender is sending, the element should be understood by the receiver. It means the message, the information was encoded, then in the same way receiver decodes, then we can say that he understands the message and receiver will reply or receiver will give a message, then we can say communication took place. The three things, there should be the message, there should be the two parties, there should be element of understanding for the communication. Right now, I am sending information about communication, okay, with the help of this video, and you are getting the message. I am the sender here and you are receiver. If you are getting the information in the same way, then we can say communication took place. So next one, types of communication. There are basically two types of communication on the basis of channel used. Verbal communication, second one is non-verbal communication. What is verbal communication? Verbal communication, in verbal communication, we use the messages. We communicate to others by words of mouth, by piece of writing, right? The message transmitted or transferred verbally means in oral as well as in written we can transfer the message, information, our feelings, our emotions. Verbal communication is divided into two parts. Number one is oral communication, number two is written communication. What is oral communication? Oral communication When we communicate to audience orally, we can say oral communication. Spoken words are used for the communication purpose. A class teacher mostly uses in a classroom oral communication while delivering the lecture in the classroom. Okay, so examples here: face-to-face conversation means in a classroom teaching, there is a interaction between students and teachers. It is the face-to-face conversation. A speech, number of leaders interact with audience with the help of speech. Telephonic conversation, if you communicate with your friends on telephone, then we can say that it's a oral communication. With the help of video conferencing, these are the examples of oral communication. Now the second one is written communication. The word is very simple. What is written communication? When communicator or sender uses written messages, printed messages or handwritten messages for the communication purpose, then we can say it is written communication. Examples: letter, email, report, memo, notice, etc. Written communication is used in business houses as a formal way of communication because everything should be recorded, right? So written communication is only the way we can record for a long term. So, and number of things, we have to circulate the messages, notice, then we have to do these things. We have to display on notice board in the form of written communication. The number 2 is non-verbal communication. It is not oral communication and not written communication. This is wordless messages. Non-verbal communication, wordless messages. It means sign language is used for this communication. Means apart from written and oral, not face-to-face conversation and not in a written form. You cannot write and you cannot speak. So which type of communication we use? Sign, symbols. When examples I can give: the gesture, body language, facial expression, postures, etc. It plays an important role at the time of public speaking and personal interview. Suppose I'm just giving an example here. A teacher is teaching in the classroom, okay, and he wants to understand the students about a particular topic. So definitely he will move his or her hand to make them understand. Means movement of hand is a gesture, right? Try to make understand. A speaker tries to understand the audience, the receiver, in a better way to use non-verbal communication. The facial expression, how his or her expressions while communicating to the audience. Body language, how the body language. So let's start the process or steps of communication or elements of communication. Before starting, I would like to tell you that these 8 elements are important for communication process. So one by one, first of all, I would like to make you understand about this 8 communication process elements, right? And after that, I will make you understand how it places in a sequence. Number 1 is sender. Sender is a person who sends the message. Sender is a person who initiates the whole conversation. Sender is the initiator, is a communicator who sends the message to the receiver. Okay? Encoding is one of the element of communication process where sender encodes the message with the help of words, symbols, sign for the receiver. Number 3, message. Message is the main part. The information, ideas or thoughts, we can say that message what is to convey to the receiver. What information, content sender wants to send to receiver, to the receiver. Message may be in written form, message may be in symbolic, may be in oral form. So now the channel is one of the medium where sender chooses the way to communicate with the receiver, means from or through which medium sender wants to communicate with receiver. Suppose he wants to engage in face-to-face conversation, here the medium is face-to-face conversation, oral communication has been chosen by sender. Or he can write a letter, he can communicate with the help of writing. So here we can say this is written communication. Here sender chooses the medium, the channel, written communication. He wants to communicate on telephone. Okay, so this is one of the medium, telephonic conversion. Receiver is a person who receives the message, who receives the information. Receiver is a person who is targeted for transferring the information by sender. Right now you are the receiver here and you are getting the information, it means you are receiver and I am a sender. I am sending the message and you are getting the message. You are receiving the message. Decoding is one of the process of communication where receiver decodes the message in the same way the message was encoded by the sender and understand in the same way. Number 7 is noise, barriers. It is one of the element of communication process. Noise or barriers. Noise is available in channel or medium. Suppose I am sending the information through this medium, maybe there is a barrier like sound coming from the background and all those things that creates barriers in communication process. We can say that is noise. Feedback is the last process of communication and it is very important. In this process, a receiver receives the message and in a reply, receiver sends the message to sender. At this time, receiver becomes sender and sender becomes receiver. For the communication process, feedback is necessary. Suppose I am a sender here, I am giving the information through this video and you will get the information in the same way, then you will give me a feedback. You can comment, you can send me a message from different sources. So this is a feedback in the communication process. It's very important. So take a look. This is the figure of process of communication, how communication process takes place. Start with the sender initiates with encoding of messages and then transfer the message through medium maybe face to face, maybe telephonic, digital, and then the message decodes by receiver, and then receiver will give a feedback or response to the sender what he received.